very good Sunday evening to you. Thanks for staying up. Welcome into the Sports Authority. It's been a little less than a week since an NCAA basketball champion was crowned, but we'll hear tonight from UC coach Mick Cronin about next season and Kentucky's outspoken John Calipari about the NCAA. We'll find out about who slipped comfortably into the green jacket at Augusta and talk with a couple of local golf pros about it. We'll also talk about the possible fixes for the Reds offense with our Reds experts. And we'll start with those Reds, who are hoping to snap out of a season-long funk at the plate in today's series finale against Tampa Bay. Hey, look at that. The Reds finally scored some runs for a change. Reds putting 12 runs on the board, got some big innings in the ball game. A grand slam from Chris Heisey off local product Josh Lukey capped the Reds scoring in this one. Every Red starter in the game, except Brandon Phillips, and he had 3 hits, either scored a run or drove in a run. Another fine outing from Tony Cingrani, 6 1/3 innings to pick up the victory. And the Reds salvage at least one against Tampa Bay, improved to 4-8 on the season with the 12-4 victory.
What's your age cutoff for calling people Mister?
Anyone older than me.
So you'll call Bubba Mister?
Yeah, Mr. Watson, for sure. Just because it'll mess with him.
Call you Mr. Watson.
That's fine. When I'm hitting it past him, he'll be.
That was 20-year-old Jordan Spieth, who said he was going to call his playing partner in today's final round of the Masters, 2012 champ Bubba Watson, who's 15 years older, Mr. But Watson, as you can hear, is a tough guy to rattle. Spieth trying to become the youngest player ever to win the Masters. Tiger Woods was 21 when he won for the first time in 1997. Wonder if Spieth was calling him Mr. here. A 54-year-old Fred Couples was attempting to become the oldest player to win, and while he entered the final round 4 shots out of the lead, the birdie on number 1, followed by a birdie at 2, had him in contention for a while. Spieth got off to a good start, a par save at 1, and then on 2, the birdie moved him to 600 and gave him a 1-stroke lead over Watson. Matt Kuchar was a group ahead of Spieth and Watson, and he moved to 6 under and a first-place tie when he chipped in for birdie on number 3. Spieth seemed to have everything go his way on the front 9. In the bunker on number 4, but he proceeded to blast it out and in for a birdie to move to 7 under and go 2 up on the rest of the field at the time. He still led Watson by 2 strokes after a birdie on 7, but then a bogey on 8, while Watson birdied, tied him again, and then Watson with another birdie right there on 9 put the pressure on Spieth, who missed his par putt coming up, and a 4-shot swing in 2 holes had Bubba up 2 shots at the turn. Watson basically put it away on the par 5 13th. The birdie right here moves him to 8 under, 3 shots clear of Spieth, and that's how it ended. Bubba Watson won his 2nd green jacket in the last 3 years, and in the process became just the 17th golfer to win the tournament more than once.
Bubba, a year ago, you didn't play very well. You got left off the...
Thank you very much. You either. I've seen you play.
Never got a chance to play.
Yeah. There's a reason for
You
that.
not only had to...
It's overwhelming. You know, again, like I said, to start this off, to a guy named Bubba from a small town. You know, born in Pensacola, Florida, raised in Baghdad. It's crazy to think that you have won. And so it took me a while to, at the same time, adopting my son the week before, threw a wrench in there as well.
The head professional at the Grizzly course at Kings Island's with me, along with former PGA Tour veteran Mike McGee, played on the tour for 1 year. Fellas, let's talk some Masters before we talk a little bit about spring golf and getting yourselves ready. What surprised you most, the fact that Bubba won as easily as he did today, the fact that really nobody made a run?
Well, what surprised me the most is all his 1-putts. He had 11 1-putts through 17 holes. I mean, he's a power hitter, like everybody knows, but he made every putt he looked at.
Mike, you hold the record on the tour, 18 putts in a round. That's an average of obviously 1 per hole.
Right.
When you watch somebody like Bubba putt and putt that well and putt that all, what do you see? What do you know that he's going through and doing well in those circumstances?
Well, with him having 11 putts at Augusta with as fast as the greens are, it's probably a little bit different. And for him to have to get up and down so many times under so much pressure, just makes a big difference.
Now, we saw him yesterday late in the round. He made 2 putts. He made a putt on 17, made a putt on 18, but before that, he was leaving a lot of putts short. For a guy that's that good of a putter, I'm sure you went through stuff like that too, where you were either going through it or coming up short. What was he able to maybe change today to get him to get balls?
Well, they were talking about that yesterday. Nick Faldo was talking about that yesterday on TV, that Bubba's just kind of lost with his putter because he had a lot of putts that came up way short, a lot of putts that went way past. And probably after the round, he probably just went to the putting green and just worked on his distance control. And today was like a major thing, trying to get the ball in the right position so that you don't have any wild, crazy putts.
Before we talk a little bit more about Bubba, talk about that. When somebody can go to the putting green themselves and they come out and see you at the Grizzly course at Kings Island, how do you work with them on distance control? Because everybody wants to be able to read putts and hit the left to righters and the right to lefters, but a lot of it is simply keeping the right distance control.
One thing I do with a lot of my juniors is to have them putt long putts up against the fringe. Don't putt to a hole, just feel that distance control, or just put a couple tees on the green and just hit to them, go back and forth, and not worry about a hole, but just feel the distance.
When you guys watch Bubba Watson play, and the shot he hit one on 15 today where he didn't need to gamble. He had enough of a lead. He could have laid up, could have just played for maybe at least an easy birdie or a par at worst. He went ahead and gambled and went for the green in 2 anyway. Does it make you hold your breath, or is that what makes it fun to watch?
But that's Bubba. That's just his personality.
Yeah, you know, we've all played with aggressive players, and they just go for it.
Well, I was going to say, when you play with aggressive players or guys that can hit it that long, and I know today you watched Jordan Spieth. He's not a short hitter himself, but there were times Bubba's 30, 40, 50 yards ahead of him. How hard is it to keep you in the mindset of I just have to play my game and not worry about how far that guy's hitting the ball, Mike?
Well, to this very day, probably the way I play, I'm like pretty far behind everybody else. So I'm getting used to doing it. But Jordan's got to be very, very patient, knowing that Bubba was way up there. And the thing that's like baffling, we were talking about this on the way down here, is like, how can Bubba hit it that far with the way he swings, the way he's just jumping out of the way, and the way he's setting so open, and when he finishes his swing, his right foot is about a foot behind where it started.
Yeah, it's crazy to watch. Some of it's God-given, I guess. Andy, I'll leave you with this final question for you, because we are in that season now where the weather's finally turning. I know you had a nice weekend over the weekend to get some players out to the course. Give some people, if they go to the range, just maybe a couple of tips just to get back in the swing of things, for lack of a better term.
You know, I really work the basic fundamentals. I actually talked with Butch Harmon Monday. I was down at the Masters on Monday, and it was a rain out, but I talked with Butch, and we talk about basic fundamentals. When we try to teach as PGA pros, alignment, setup, posture, balance. So, you know, work on your fundamentals.
It's a pretty simple game if you work on your fundamentals, I guess. Mike McGee, we appreciate it. 18 putts in a round. Lastly, tell me about that, because for you it was, what, you chipped in once and hit a couple off the fringe?
It was at the St. Jude Federal Express Classic in Memphis. It was 1987, and it was like, no way I can do that now.
Still pretty good. I'm not sure you can do that on a putt-putt course, for goodness sakes.
As we get a little older, our hands get a little shaky.
Exactly. Andy Horn, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Kentucky basketball season ended just 6 points short of their goal, a second national title in 3 years and a 9th overall. The Wildcat brand of basketball, mostly with one-and-done players, isn't for everyone and has been criticized in many circles. But the man behind it, head coach John Calipari, has been adamant. He's playing with the set of rules set forth by the NCAA. Cal will be on CBS this morning, a little bit later on this morning, actually in just a few hours, where he'll be promoting his new book coming out Tuesday. In that book, the outspoken coach compares the NCAA to the Soviet Union and goes on the record saying he's in favor of paying players. Now, during the NCAA tournament, Coach Cal took some shots at the NCAA and those who take issue with the way he runs his quote-unquote one-and-done program. And a little closer to home, the UC Bearcats took home a share of the AAC regular season title in the conference's inaugural year, and the folks in Clifton will no doubt be looking to get back to that top spot on the mountain next year. Some of the heavy hitters, though, from a season ago are going to be gone, and because of a challenging non-conference schedule, those that remain better get up to speed quickly.
With Louisville leaving our league, our non-conference schedule is going to be twice as hard next year as it was this past year. And trying to keep our national profile up, you know, making sure that we're getting games on ESPN and CBS. So it's going to be a different dynamic because we're really going to have a tough December next year. And with a lot of new players, we're going to have to make sure that we get them ready for that.